everybody to another meeting of Toastmasters. Today's theme is prepare for the unexpected. Before we get into that, there was a little household things. If you have a phone, please make sure you put it on silent or turn it off so it doesn't go off during the middle of the meeting and interrupt everybody. Also, if everybody would please stand for the pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before I get to my second, I'm going to call upon the president of our club,
We're very honored to have guests tonight. Her first time she did to us, so what we'll do is still welcome in. You may or may not want to stay in the tabletop section later on. And at the end of the meeting, you'll want to take an opportunity to get to know you a little better, find out a little more about you and what you thought of the meeting. Now, thank you for coming.
Call upon the meeting for the first thing, that way they can chime in on meetings and things that we do. So our first duty holder tonight, that can be our timer. The key, so Lee, can you please explain your timer?
Throughout the meeting, there will be various time sections. When the speaker is given the second qualified time, you'll see the green flag. When the speaker continues to speak and is halfway to the point of disqualifying, you'll see the yellow flag. And then finally, when they've reached their final time, you'll see the red flag, in which they will have 30 seconds to wrap up. Should they continue, I will continue to hold the red card that they will be qualified on time. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Next to the order of Mary, Rob Chow, please explain the vote to Mary.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow members, guests, Andrew Grammarian, I'm here for two purposes. One, to listen carefully to how you use the English language, to listen for your grammar. I'm listening for both egregious uses of the English language and poor grammar, as well as good uses of the English language, good phrases, interesting phrases, words that we may not hear. And I'm also here to introduce the word of the day, foursquare. It's a verb, and it has a few different definitions, but the probably most currently commonly used is renounce earnestly, or renounce earnestly. And a couple of examples are, as a Toastmaster, I forswear using crutch words or egregious use of the English language. And another example is Mark Schroeder wouldn't forswear that he would attend the meeting. So there's a couple of examples, and again, if you forswear, you will need to use this during table topics in order to qualify. So please pay attention to that. You can see it up here as well. So if you're coming up for table topics, glance there, got the example, got the definition, forswear. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Next duty holders are both timers. And roll. Thank you, please explain the vote.
Ready to go? Perfect.
So to give you a little heads up, this is my first time having a role at Toastmasters and Chief Vote Counter, so I will be referencing my phone because as much as I wanted to prepare, I was not able to. So as the role of vote counter, I will be counting the votes for all of the people that are presenting here tonight. That will be there are 4 categories. There is the best speaker, best table topic speaker, best evaluator, and the best of the big three. And just a reminder to everyone, the best of the big three is the Toastmaster, the table topic master, and the general evaluator. So to vote, I will record the votes for each person. So this is the ballot that you will be using to place your ballot. You just tear them off, I believe, because I think I got that wrong in the last meeting. And then put your votes in here whenever it is requested. Sorry. Place your votes in the table, end of the meeting. Oh, at the end of the meeting, I will present the ribbons to the winners for the vote. And I think that's it. Anything I missed? Please enjoy your feedback. Thank you so much.
So, and just know that you only have to have one speaker, one evaluator, not for the not both. So both of us are in the public. This we only have one speaker, and one evaluator, we want both. But this is automatic when it's there. All right, next meeting holder will be our all counter, which is Kim Crandall. So Kim, can you please explain your role as all counter?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As off camera, I will be listening closely for spillover. So run-on sentences, on pauses. If you hear that, think about what you were doing, and I will give a report during the evaluation portion of the meeting.
Thank you. And our last duty holder, which is joining us via Zoom, is Karen Lee for our Pocketmire. So Karen, can you please explain your role for Pocketmire?
Posture monitor this evening, I will watch for distracting body language and gestures and keep notes, and I will give a report at the end of the meeting. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
So I'm going to talk a few things. First, about security and safety. Like we're getting out and about more often now, so we got to think about, in our cars, what if we have a breakdown or something like that happens while we're out? So we want to be prepared for those kinds of situations. So for example, what if the car breaks down? And what if the car does flat? You pull out your spare tire, and it has no air. So this is sitting around in your trunk forever. You never check that, so it has no air. No, you can't change your tire because your spare tire doesn't have any air. Or what if, actually my mom actually brought this up to me the other day, that she knew a person that used to try to use their jack. Their jack failed them. So we got to inspect the equipment too. Make sure your jack is working properly, so you can use it to change the tire. Or what if this car just breaks down? What if I know it's not winter now, but what if we're in the winter time, it breaks down, the car's not running, the heater on. So maybe about having, like during the winter time, having a blanket or a jacket in your car to help keep warm, so help around. Or like you take this tire from like that, working on the shoulder when you break down. What about flares? Or some kind of reflective device, so this will oncoming traffic know that you're on the side of the road and they need to be careful and not run upon you. So these kind of things that we need to think about being protected, because we never know what happens, might happen. All right, I'll get to more of this, but we're going to move on to our prepared speaker tonight. And our prepared speaker is Justin Bell, and the evaluator tonight is Rob Gow. Rob, can you explain how to evaluate?
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow guests, Justin. Justin is giving a speech from level 1, and it is in the evaluation and feedback project. It is the second speech of the evaluation and feedback project, which means that he gave this speech once before. So he gave a speech, he received feedback the last time that he gave it. This speech, he's to incorporate that feedback as much as he can in order to try to improve the speech, and that's what we're looking for. Once he's done, I will give an evaluation, And then perhaps next week, he will be an evaluator for somebody else. We'll see. Back to you, Mr. President.
Quick, doesn't how we repeat? Why agile and scrum are superior ways to build software. Okay. I keep it. All right, so we're welcome Justin Sebastian here for this second week on the evaluation feedback. Welcome, Justin. Okay, thank you, Toastmasters. My speech is agile. Why agile and scrum are superior ways to build software over waterfall. So waterfall is an old traditional way of building software in which you plan everything, then you develop everything, then you just test everything, then you deploy it finally. This may take 4 months, this may take 6 months, this may take a whole year. The issue is the customer or the stakeholders don't get to see what's being deployed to the very end. Agile and Scrum is very different from waterfall. Agile and Scrum, you deliver it in small increments. So normally every 2 weeks, you're delivering a piece of working software to the stakeholders and the customer. Why is this important? It's important because it's transparent. The stakeholders and the customers can see what's being built. It's also adaptable. The customers have a say-so of and can say, we like this, we enjoy this, we don't like this, we don't like that. And it's incremental. So the team gets a chance of building something new every week. So in Scrum, there are 3 main roles. The 3 main roles are Scrum Master, which acts as the coach of the team. The product owner, which is similar to a DM, they communicate the message and they communicate what needs to be done from the customer to stakeholders to the development team. And the development team is like the actual team. They build the working software. There's another advantage to Scrum and Agile. The other advantage is Scrum allows the development team to have a say-so. The dev team normally in waterfall has no say-so. Normally the plan is built without any developer present. The plan is built and they have to work on what's being allotted. So the management gives the developer team what's going to be worked on, and they don't have any say-so of how long it might take. In Scrum, the development team has a say-so. They get to say, hey, I can only do this with much amount of work during the sprint. I can only do 5 stories during the sprint. I can't do 6. The product owner prioritizes the story, but the development team also has a say-so. So from 3 pillars, inspection, transparency, and adaptation are given out throughout the ceremony. The 5 ceremonies are the sprint. The sprint is the allotted time that the customers have to do the work. There's the sprint planning. The team gets a plan what's being worked on. There's the sprint review, the demo. Team gets the demo what's being worked. And then there's finally the retrospection. Team talks about what went well, what we do better, and how we can improve the overall experience. These 5 ceremonies really capture the essence of Scrum. Scrum is adaptable. You have a chance to actually change what you're working on. In waterfall, you have no chance. You have to work on what's been allotted to you with no chance of changing it. The requirements are the requirements. But in Scrum, the requirements can change from week to week. This is why Scrum is a superior way of building software over the waterfall. Thank you. Thank you, Justin. All right, now we call upon timers for this, Justin qualified on time.
Justin qualified on time, he spoke for 5 minutes and 15 seconds.
Right. I know we only have one speaker tonight, so we will not be voting for a speaker, but there's the opportunity to leave a comment for Justin. We have a comment for him, and those as well in the blue cup. So actually, he's probably speaking up here, he's going during the meeting, if you have comments for them or feedback, feel free to do that. Blue cup. And our vote counter will, well, like you put their names on too, but the vote counter just is you. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about home now. Because, at home, you have like space, like a first aid kit, things like that. So you never know if you get hurt around the home, need a Band-Aid or something like that. Or, what about smoke detectors? When you're sleeping, you're not going to necessarily know if the fire breaks out. That's what the smoke detector is for. Or even a carbon monoxide detector. But those actually come combined these days. Smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector, all in one detector. So those are always good things to have. And what about if what happens, the power goes out, and you can't get out of the house for some reason? Do you have enough food to last you for at least a week? Enough toilet paper? Enough necessities to get you by for at least a week? So that's kind of, things to think about. You never know what will happen. Let's remember back when it got really cold and grid shut down. Of course, they were talking about shutting it down for 15 minutes at a time, which ended up being, I don't know about where y'all live, but where I live, it went from 15 minutes to almost half a day or even longer with power out. It's like each time each time the power went out, the increments got longer and longer. At some point, you never know where's the power back on. We're over here in the jackets, blankets around us, trying to stay warm. And of course, the thing goes again with the extreme heat. I've heard people talk about the grid shutting down for 15 minutes already. And actually, I know somebody that's new in their area that it did shut down for 15 minutes, every hour. Or one day, it's 15 minutes back to me. So that's probably coming too. So just kind of be aware, stay prepared, and make sure you have clean necessities at the house. Yeah. Now, one more thing, financial issues. You never know what happens with, cars. For example, my other half car, we got half on starting, so we had to take it to the shop and ended up having to car replaced. For example, we had a Cadillac, it cost $550 to get it replaced. So it's always good to, set a little money aside if you can. I'm not sure, not everybody can set as much as you can, this is not your financial, but try to set a little bit of money aside, every paycheck. And it also has a lot of another issue, which you might get sick right now, because it's over $1,000. It's something you can live with right now. But at the start, we kind of get fixed, keep your car, you get to go to work, you get paid money. So remember that these are just a few things that you might want to think about, be prepared for the unexpected. So now we're going to move into our tabletop section of the meeting, which is going to be run by our president, Mark Stanley.
this may prepare you for a situation or some other setting where you're called upon to say something at a moment's notice. And this helps you to know, to be loose in that situation. There are two requirements in order to win the competition. You have to respond to the questions I give you for at least 1 minute, and then a maximum of 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is the 2-minute time limit on the 30-second grace period. And you have to use the word of the day or swear, as in I forswear alcohol, I forswear working with the day off. Please use the word of the day. And I want to know that if you hear any of these and then you want to give this a shot, just play that. If you don't, then that's fine. Just enjoy watching everyone else for another use. Our first question I have is, while preparing for the unexpected, that sounds a little dangerous, a little bit scary, the unexpected, that doesn't sound good. But it can be good. There are some good stuff. Angela, please tell us about the best unexpected event that you ever experienced.
Hi, everyone. You guys. I actually have a pretty good one. I recently, so sorry, I thought we were walking here to share with you guys. I moved to New York from Dallas to New York 4 years ago, and I was working as a consultant in retail and worked in small companies, loving work for about 15 years. And I was talking to a friend about this, and she worked for a nonprofit, and they were doing census work. And we talked about what I like to do and what I'm good at, a lot of starting projects from start to finish, keeping something moving, working in the environment. She said, well, we're launching this census project. We need help. We need somebody like you to put it in, kind of step in and do the work and really enjoy it. And I thought, well, it's not fun. I was going to think about the census. They take it every 10 years, but that sounds like a great thing to get involved in. It sounds really interesting. So I did, and it was one of the best experiences of my life because I don't know if you guys know this, but the census is a terribly important thing for everyone, especially for our state. It's basically, it dictates the amount of funding that we get, it dictates the things, how many presidents we have. And well, no, it's not actually just one. For anybody that doesn't support the census, I will swear. Anywho, to wrap this up, I think my time is almost up. I now am going to continue my census work and actually launch a nonprofit to support national funders to continue spreading the word and raise awareness in Texas so that we have a better turnout in 2030 to work. Thank you very much.
If you were a census taker, you are lots of free students have where they were census takers. They can really enjoy it.
Yeah.
The next question, and this goes back to COVID, although I'm trying to get away from that country, I'm tired of talking about it. But we had a lot of unexpected things. First of all, the COVID itself, I remember that's a really good during the pandemic. And then early in the process, I went to the grocery store, and it was jammed with people getting food. And I joined in the hysteria, getting food, not necessarily me, because I was afraid like anyone else. John Vessels, has COVID changed your outlook on being prepared?
Thank you.
Yes, I think a little bit. I do have more requests. But other than that, no. I've always been
and I'm a little bit of a person. I mean, I live in a condo, so I'm in space, so it's not like I'm gonna have this big house kind of stuff. But funny thing, I used to have to do the interviews before they come to my house and they talk to me and they go through the entire tour. I got that every year for like about 5 years in a row. And the thing about that is the last couple of years that they did it, they started asking the question, do you have a planned place to go in the event that you are put out of your house, like natural disaster or something? They asked if you had 3 days worth of water and food stored in the event of some kind of situation. I thought that was really interesting because I'm, Red Depression and stuff like that. And I thought that was really interesting that they started adding that in the question. So that stuck in my head, and forever I don't have all that stuff I need, but I have a little bit, and I usually have fun. I could skip a week. So I just for squaring that. No, I don't prep. That doesn't change my life. Back to you.
And again, the unexpected, again, the early birds unexpected. Suppose, for example, you unexpectedly won whatever sum of money, $1 million. That would be really nice. So, Lauren and team, please tell us, how would you spend $1 million if you won unexpectedly? No, that was Lauren. Lauren.
Oh.
Lauren. Or make it $1 billion.
Thank you so much, yes.
Not like
That's just the question I usually ask myself, what would I do if I win the lottery? If I have $1 million, I would probably buy a house, because I've been watching the home show network on the show Your Dream House. So I would buy a house first, probably quit my job, and buy some kind of annuity so I can spread it out for the rest of my life, because I'm thinking that I only need 100,000 a year, or I can live 50,000 a year. I just enjoy everything and just can help some people with my spare time that I don't have to work, so I can volunteer, that I don't have to worry about money all the time, and I have to prepare for the unexpected, like illness or bankruptcy or something, and I just prefer illness. Yeah, so I can never plan for it, but with $1 million, I would probably save a lot of it and just live maybe 50,000, maybe spend 100,000 plus years, but I would rather not have. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. It sounds like me. I used to buy one lottery ticket every week, but I had to quit because I would take it too serious. I'd get home, I would sign it, I'd compare it to the newspaper every day, and then I would really agonize on how I being a millionaire or billionaire. And the next question is unexpected events. Yeah, they can be difficult, they can be challenging. So without getting too personal, Kim Crandall, what's the most challenging, unexpected event you've ever had?
Mr. Toastmasters. My saying is never say never. I would swear that something happens, right? My most challenging, other than probably financial, I would have to say it comes to something mechanical, something that I don't know how to fix. A couple of years ago, I was on my way to get an oil change, and I was about maybe 3 miles away. My clutch went out, and I was on my way to get an oil change. Luckily, it was daytime. The government police were nice enough to wait with me until the tow truck came. I would have to say, when it comes to the unexpected, if it's something mechanical or something that you have to fix, you don't know what's going to be about right time and money. So that's the challenge. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you for that answer, because you had said something really, really terrible about I would have felt that. So that's a very good practice. That's, that's. Next question for Karen Lee. She can send me as well. Karen, how prepared were you for the electricity loss in February?
Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I never had any trouble with the electricity going off in my condominium. We did have electricity. I was told that one of the reasons we had electricity was due to the close proximity where we were located, close to the Presbyterian Main Hospital in Dallas. I also can say that I was able to forswear the loss of electricity, but we did lose our water. We did not have any water at that time. So then at that same time, you cannot do dishes or take a bath for several days and during that time. So while we did have electricity, we did not have water. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Those are all the top questions that we have tonight. And first of all, I think I know the answer to this, but I want to check with Mary and Bob. Did everyone use the word today?
I heard everybody except for Lauren. Lauren, did you use it? Okay, well, there you go. Everybody used it.
Great. And Lee, did everyone qualify on time?
Angela qualified at 1 minute, 55 seconds. John qualified at 1 minute, 29 seconds. Warren qualified at 1 minute, 29 seconds. Tim qualified at 1 minute, 17 seconds. And Karen qualified at 1 minute, 22 seconds. Everybody did qualify.
In order for you to vote on the second topic, I'll go over very quickly. You spoke on what? Kim Crandall spoke on the most challenging unexpected event. Angela spoke on the best unexpected event she ever experienced. John spoke on how COVID had not changed without being prepared. Karen spoke on being prepared for electricity loss. And Lauren told us how she would spend a lot of money if she wasn't unexpected. So please vote for who you think did the best job on table topics. And while we were voting, I'll turn this over to our general evaluator. John, that's your volunteer.
meeting is the evaluation portion of the meeting. So we give our speeches, we do some off-the-cuff speeches, but then we have to know what we did. So that's what the portion of evaluation is. We're going to talk to the evaluator for general. I'll evaluate the meeting with you, I thought, so we can learn by the critique of the issue. And it's always helpful. We're not, I want to say we're critical, but we're not critical in the mean way. We just want you to know what you did and how to improve it. So I'm going to start tonight with our evaluator for justice, and that's Rob Giles. So Mr. Giles, can you please come up and give us an evaluation? Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and especially you, Justin. I'm going to give you a few positives that I thought I saw and heard this evening while you gave your prepared speech. I will also give a couple of things that perhaps you could think about for your next speech and improve upon. And then finally, one thing that I really loved about your speech. So let's get into the positive first. The first thing that I want to talk about is your organization and your content. You had an opening, and then you gave the body, which had a lot of great content, a lot of great information, which I'll get back to in a moment, and then you closed out. So you had the three main parts of the speech, which is great. Important to have those things. The content, I thought, was very good, very detailed. Something that perhaps a lot of us don't know a lot about, but now we know at least a little bit more, and perhaps are a little intrigued and can investigate a little bit more on our own. One of the things that we often talk about, and this is something that you can get down the road, is knowing your audience and giving topics and speeches that are appropriate to your audience. That's not to say that this isn't one of those situations, but it's something for you to think about for sure. I do want to mention also your gestures. This was something that I believe Mark, who was your evaluator last time, had mentioned. There were some good gestures that you used last time. I thought you did a good job. However, there were a few repetitive gestures that I noticed as posture monitor last time. And I saw some of those again, which was similar to this. What I'm kind of doing a little bit of is not really having purpose to those gestures, but you did use more gestures, and you made them more emphatic, and you made them more purposeful when you were using them in a purposeful way. So I thought you did a good job with gestures, but something that you can also think about. The third thing that I want to mention that I thought was good, and I think that Mark referred to this last time that he spoke, and that was notes. We knew, or we thought you had notes up there, but you almost never looked at them. And that's impressive considering this is only your third speech. Although you know the topic, obviously, you know the content, but that's an important thing, and I'm going to get into something regarding those notes in just a moment. Some things that I thought that you could think about for the next speech is one, staging. You're pretty much back there behind the lectern the entire time. Move out in front of the lectern, and when you're talking about something that is chronological or past, present, future, move along the stage accordingly. Use it to your advantage. Take advantage of that. The notes. I think a little bit more preparation, and you can just throw them out. That way you can be up here in front of the lectern. It's a positive one. I thought maybe the closing was a little bit fast. Maybe expand that a little bit to give us a little bit more of a build up to something more powerful at the end. What I loved about your speech, especially tonight, was the confidence that you exude when you're talking about this topic and this subject. So I really appreciated that. It's very inspiring. So overall, organization and content were good. Your gestures were pretty good overall. You barely used notes. You could consider using some of the stage to your advantage. The notes, maybe scrap them if you can. And I love your confidence. Back to you, Mr. General. Thank you, Rob. So let's have a few points about the meeting tonight. Oh, did everybody call around time? No. I'm shocked. But I got caught up in the news. Here we go. Yeah, Rob will force Twitter that we'll go over time again. All right. So a couple of things about our meeting tonight. A, interesting topic. What we expect are prepare for the unexpected. Now I told Megan to follow the talk. Prepare for the unexpected day. Oh, what's the day? But now I just prepared for the unexpected. All this stuff. I thought something was going to happen, like maybe he knows what's going on. So anyway, I thought that was good information. We have, all of America, all of the world has been stuck in this getting ready for the unexpected, preparing for the unexpected, not knowing what's going to happen one day to the next. For the last couple of years since the pandemic, there's been word locked everybody down. So we all have this paranoia about what's going to come next. That's why Mark ordered 15,000 old broken. He was a great. He did it. Now, the other thing that I thought it was good information and let us get into the table topic. Mark, you had all of our table topic questions that came along that line and maintained the theme of the meeting, which is always really interesting, especially when it's a good topic. And it's made for good questions. I mean, all valid things that we have to prepare for, where we prepare, how to cope with it. So those are all very good questions that everybody asks well, successfully, and then have a stumper that's like, oh, so it's always fun. So now we're going to go on to our meeting holders. Let's go to our meeting holders. First off is our Rob Giles. Rob, tell us how we did. Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. I have to admit that toward the beginning of the meeting, I was focused on something else and did not catch a lot of good or poor uses from you, Dagan, as Toastmaster, so I apologize sincerely for that. Justin, overall, I didn't hear any poor grammar. Obviously, you had some great terms in there, just even in the title, Scrum, Agile, these are things that spark, at least for me, an interest. So again, like I was mentioning during my evaluation, something that maybe it will get us to Google it or search for it online. Mark Sims, you used the word hysteria. I thought that was great. Angela, you had the term national funders, which I had not heard, but that's a great phrase for what you were doing and who you were dealing with. You used the term anywho, which I haven't heard in a little while. John used the term prepper, and it just made me think, well, if he's a prepper, maybe I'm a prepper. Wouldn't you like to be a prepper too? That may date me a little bit, but some of you may not have any idea what I'm talking about. But John apparently is a little bit of a prepper. John, you did use a phrase you know in there, and I'm sure our counters will talk about that. But Lauren, you used a couple of good phrases that I like, annuity and bankruptcy, and then Mark Sims can really relate to. Just these banking terms, I'm sorry. Finance. You did have one phrase or one sentence where you said, "What would I do if I win the lottery?" And so it went from a kind of, I guess, future tense to current tense, or past tense, I should say. So it really, in my mind, it should have been, what would I do if I won the lottery? And I could be wrong, but double check that. I think that that's the way I would say it. What would I do if I won the lottery? Champ your phrase, never say never. It's always a good one. Although you never want to never say never. Everybody else did great. I didn't hear any other poor use of the English language or grammar. No other interesting phrases that caught my attention. Back to you, Mr. Rob.
Our sixth evaluator, duty holder is Jim, and two of our oddcasters. Please raise your hand.
Overall, we had a pretty good night tonight when it came to Oz, such words. Justin, during your speech, I did hear a few Oz and but nothing excessive. For some people starting out, they have a hard time with that. But you didn't have anything excessive. During the table topics, Angela and John, I was listening, but I forgot to click. I did hear a few Oz, but then nothing excessive. So overall, great job, Mr. General Evaluator.
Karen, how about your budget monitor report, please?
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I did hear or see Justin using a lot of different hand gestures, as Rob spoke about in his evaluation. Dagan and Mark Sims also use their hands when they speak a lot. I noticed Angela touching her ring and hand clasping when she was delivering her table topic. And Rob also uses a lot of hand gestures when he did his evaluation. I also scratched my forehead and my ear when I was on the screen. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. And back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Okay, this is my evaluation of this. What's going on with that when sometimes they're standing here in the office,
It's a matter of whether I zoom in or not. If I zoom in on somebody, like I had zoomed in on Justin when he was behind the lectern, just to get a closer view of him. And then if I don't zoom out and you come closer forward on the stage, then they'll cut it off. If I don't zoom out, I have to zoom out at that point. So that's why you're getting cut off, because I wasn't zooming out.
so zoom out.
It
So
zoomed in.
if you were standing up here and you were giving your evaluation and your head was cut off.
Well, yeah, that could be, I would need to move it back. It's hard for me to know unless I'm up.
I know this happened last week, or some of them were out there on the stage, when your technical heads off, that's what was last, so they're giving a speech on the phone. But see, right now, I'm standing here and my head, if I knew it had to be something.
Yeah, that's what it
It's
was.
not auto, is it, or anything?
No.
Something we need to work.
Yep.
Thank you. And Justin, I did want to say that I thought your speech was much more clear tonight. You gave the way you described the agile and Scrum. It made more sense to me. And I'm in IT, but it had nice, I think for everybody, it was a little clearer how to keep things work. But why agile is better than Scrum. So I thought you did a good job on that. The last speech was good, but I just think that the evaluation you got there. All right. So now, without any further ado, I want to call for a vote on the best of the big three. Now, the big three are our Toastmaster, which is David Newman, our table topic master, which is Mark Sims, or myself, our Russell, and the general evaluator. So if you would take a moment, figure out who you thought was the best out of the big three, and then we'll call our president up and have him do our list of what's going on.
The announcement announcements tonight. A couple of things I want to note is that I think we're making really good progress on the hybrid meeting, because we're starting to put out equipment that's on the front table. It looks a little less daunting than the first, looks like we had everything in the world at first. But that's pretty good size, it's pretty limited, and the whole process worked well. Rob was having to concentrate on it early on before the meeting, but it looked like during the meeting, it was at least self-sustaining enough that Rob could perform the role. We're getting better there, and then the interaction with Karen was really, really good. Because I wanted to make sure she could hear me, and she did, she had even talk. So she's not here, but she's the next step anyway, and then she's ready to do the work here. And she participated in the meeting. That is good. We want to get to know Lisa a little better, and please tell us a little about yourself and what can we do for you?
See, you can stay there.
I am Lisa, Barbara, I am in Canada for Texas stuff, and I'm here because I don't know why, I was somehow invited public speech, and I thought I could include that area. So I am here, and actually looking for where I can fit in and which club I can.
Definitely want to come back to this again, if and when you feel comfortable with this club, we'd love to have you as a member. But definitely, regardless, we want you to continue Toastmasters because it benefits a lot. It's not about this over the years, and we have individual reasons for coming to Toastmasters. I started coming to the meeting to get better at speaking, because I have anxiety. Sometimes today I feel like I'm managing better. But one way or the other, all of us are interested in improving ourselves, not being mediocre. We go way above mediocrity. Shoot for next. I think that's a common word. So thank you for coming to that. And we have a few announcements. One that I want to say before I forget is that Rob and I actually are be on vacation. So we're sometime in the next few weeks, we'll be inducting the officers in the new do that we have our first half next week, which will be and I want to go over a few announcements, and these are from an area meeting that we had at the meeting. For starters, I don't want to step on Rob's thunder as the VP education. So Rob, you want to give us any VP?
I don't really have anything as far as Vice President of Education, other than we did a fantastic job this past year. If we met membership, and there's still a slight chance that we can meet membership goals, which we need to reach 20. Right now we're at 16. We have a couple of guests that have come in the past couple of weeks that indicated that they would join. However, who knows whether we're going to see them and get them signed up prior to. But beyond that, if we met that membership goal, we would be President's Distinguished. Our club would be President's Distinguished, which means that we have achieved 9 CCP points over the course of the past year, which is really good. We just have to get our membership up just a little bit more. And if we don't do it this year, then we have a lot to look forward to next year. So we can look forward to continuing to improve and continuing our journey in Toastmasters to grow and learn. I don't have anything else as far as, VP of Education at TLI, but I don't know if you're going to talk about that, so I can leave that to you. Okay, so TLI, Toastmasters Leadership Institute, the first session is this Saturday, and our club is paid for. Officers are required to meet 2 hours, to actually go to 2 classes, totaling 2 hours for their officer roles. They don't have to necessarily go this Saturday. There's going to be another one on July 10th, and then another one, I believe, on July 28th, if I remember correctly. This Saturday, it's only in the morning. On the 10th, it's going to be morning through the afternoon. So you'll have a couple of opportunities at that point. As far as non-officers, anybody is welcome to go and attend. They want to learn about what the officers do, or there are other classes, other sessions that are taking place throughout that are not specifically officer-driven or officer, I guess, related. So if you have any interest in any of that, you're welcome to attend. The site that you'd want to go to is d50tm.org. That's D as in David, 50, T as in Toastmaster, M as in Master.org. And go to the TLI home and you can find the links for where you register for each of the classes. I will also send out an email regarding those. Back to you, Mr. President.
And also at that same area for the meeting, a few other things about log payment, and that is going to be the area for the director in the next time. Placing their income, which is a big time commitment, it's really great to do that. And he was also awarded as the Crystal West, 15 months, been the assistant area director in there. He was recognized as the Rookie of the Year assistant area
For Metro.
For Metro. So we're all getting some really good recognition and doing a really good job. Near the end of that same meeting, they asked, okay, what has been your cost of office? My first thought is, man, I don't know this happening. And then finally, the tabletop kicked in. For starters, very seriously, we got to fun. Because during COVID, we have not had a really good food situation. There's a lot of fun. And I'm sure some probably did go under. So we got to fun. We returned to in-person meetings, doing very well tonight. We kept a really nice location that we've had a long time. Great amenities such as we get food, we obviously use stage, which you will do. And then we have several great members, a couple of which are here tonight, a few other members. Here tonight, but that definitely is crucial to the want to continue to. Those are all the announcements that I had, unless anyone else has anything else.
I just have one more, and that's regarding, we did receive some, what we call bookstore bucks that we use to purchase items from the District 50 bookstore, which they get those products from Toastmasters International, and we are not stocked up for ballots for probably a year. So we don't have to get any more of those. We also received or got a banner bag. So our banner, which is over there hanging up, once that gets rolled up, that can be placed in here for safer and hopefully good storage. We'll see if it fits in there nicely. Hopefully it does. It might be made or tailored more for the new banners, but we'll give it a shot. I didn't even think about that until now. And then finally, we purchased this with our bookstore box, which is kind of a laptop backpack. And this, hopefully we'll be able to use for any kind of a reward for a membership drive or an open house or something along those lines that we can give out as perhaps a prize to whoever is the winner, whatever competition we have going on. Not necessarily to be used for contest, but I figured it was something that we could use possibly for an incentive.
How about if anybody comes forward with 4 new members between now and next Wednesday?
Sorry, what's that?
How about giving it to anybody that brings forward movement between now
Well,
and Wednesday?
I would say that with one caveat to that, is that those members have to actually end up being active members and stick with the club, more than just a month or two. Because we've been through that, we've been down that road once before. So that's not a bad idea, so hey, you can get, anybody can get 4 people to come in and stick around, then that great backpack there can be yours. So that's what I got from the bookstore, from D50 bookstore. Possibly there might be more stuff coming because I did receive some bookstore bucks for some of my participation during the contest season. And I just need to look, so perhaps we'll get some more things that are prizes, things like those things. And I less determined what to get. If there were ribbons or things like that that we could use that they had, then I would have purchased that instead, but there wasn't really anything as far as any significant amount that we could use, so I didn't really think that was appropriate. So this is something, but perhaps we'll have more items that we can use as incentives for people to get new members or just participate a little bit more in some way.
Thank you. Please tell us the winner.
We have technically 2 winners and 2 recognitions. The recognitions are for the best evaluator and, the best speaker and the best evaluator. Because there were only one tonight, so the best evaluator recognition is for Rob Jewell. The best speaker is for Justin Brown. Lauren, are you Lauren? Yeah.